One, two, three, four, five, and welcome back to the TMCJ podcast. We are on episode 13. Some would say a lucky number, some would say an unlucky number. We'll see how well this goes.
Beatles.
We actually started this. I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
No. I was just going to say, also, I already fucked it because I started the recording a second before you did by accident.
Whatever. I'll fix it in post.
Sounds good.
So I actually we were in the middle of a conversation just before this started. I was like, you know what, this is actually something interesting that I kind of want to talk about a little bit. I was mentioning that a lot of these videos and the podcast itself, when it goes up, doesn't really have an outro. It doesn't. We have that little jingle at the beginning that opens it up, and on the YouTube channel we have like a little thumbnail going in with it, the special ones for the full podcast. We don't have an outro. We don't have an outro music or anything like that. And Blue was just mentioning cheesy voicemail recordings and things that people would do.
Yeah. They are horrible to listen to, but a lot of people have them, unfortunately.
I mean, my family did them. We had our dog in ours because he would bark for the...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's kind of adorable, though. I appreciate that.
It was actually only partially planned because my mom was recording it and she was like, "You've reached the voicemail box of blah blah blah, the home of and says all three of our names, and then the dog barks and she's like, "Oh, and Poppy," and it fit really well, and that was our voicemail for like 10 years.
No.
But it made me think of. Did you ever watch the show Seinfeld?
No, I've heard of it.
Okay. My dad loved the series, and so I watched it a lot growing up, and I ended up really loving the series. It's kind of one of those hit or miss things. People either think it's a comedy classic or people hate it.
Right.
But there's an episode where one of the guys just decides he's sick of answering people's calls. Like, he doesn't like people. For some reason, he's trying to avoid people's calls. And so he ends up doing like a full musical answering machine call. So it opens up and it's got like this big opening musical number, and he's just sitting next to the phone listening to it, like bobbing his head along. It's like I can't remember how it begins, but the main chorus is like, I must not be home or I'd pick up the phone. Where could I be? Believe it or not, I'm not home. And that's it. Like, he just that's the whole voicemail, and it's when you started talking about recording cheesy voice messages on answering machines, that immediately popped into my head.
Yeah. I imagine you'd be the kind of person to do something similar.
I have done that before. Like, I don't... If I know the number, I'll typically pick it up. I've recorded voicemails entirely in Spanish before. I've recorded them as... Oh, what was it? I think one of them was, "Hi, you've reached the residence of Kaiser." I didn't even use my real name. On my cell phone, I was like, "Hi, you've reached Kaiser." If I didn't pick up the call, I probably didn't want to talk to you. And that's it. That was the whole voicemail. I've made some pretty sarcastic ones or creative ones.
It's
in the
fine
past.
until work tries to call you, and then you're like, oh...
At the time, I was a college student, so it didn't matter.
Oh, did my voicemail call you a bitch? Oh, I'm sorry. I can't control that guy.
See, I don't have that problem anymore because I have a separate work phone.
I see. Turn down.
This actually was not one of the topics I had written down. I just thought it was a good way to open us up.
Well, we just kind of started talking, and that's just how all these things happen, really.
It is, yeah. That's how this podcast happened.
I just got home from Bristol, and there was this person on the bus who they got on, and I was like, oh, they got a cool hat. It was like a rabbit-looking thing. It had like a cute face on the front of it. It had ears, and it had like two paws dangling down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. And like a minute later, one of the ears on the hat starts flicking up. And then the other one does as well.
Wait, what?
And I realised this person has a hat where I think if you squeeze the paws on the hat, then the ears flap up.
Oh my god.
I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. But we're in the middle of like lockdown, and I'm not going to approach this person and start talking to them.
Oh my god.
But it was adorable. I should have taken a photo, but again, I didn't really want to start filming people on the bus that I don't know.
Hey, your hat's pretty cool. Can I film you?
If it was America, then hell yeah.
Well, not necessarily. Depending on the person, they might punch you in the face.
Oh no! This was like, I don't know. It wasn't. I was about to say it wasn't a skinhead. Not saying that skinheads are aggressive, but several of them are. No, this was a sweet little person.
All right. So, to transition from something positive to something somewhat more negative and controversial.
Oh dear, we got 5 minutes in. Let's go.
one of the topics I have written down, the first topic I have written down is PlayStation 5. They're planning to spy on children.
Okay.
They've...
I think I might have heard something about this.
Now, I don't know what's developed since... I heard about it earlier in the week, and I didn't dig too deeply into it myself. I just got the gist of it. In their new terms of service leaked, and for the PlayStation 5, and the controllers have microphones in them. What
they
they're...
did the PS4.
Yeah, but with the PS5, what they're saying is they want to have the microphone always on and always monitoring, in the same way that like the Kinect did for the Xbox, or the way they wanted the Kinect to work for the Xbox.
Right.
But that was controversial too, and they're justifying it by saying, we're doing it to protect, people from people saying mean things or something like that.
That's bullshit.
It is bullshit.
Like, what if you're not actually in voice call and you're just swearing generally? Because I think
That's
everyone does. If
that's
they're
the
alone
thing.
in a room.
Or what if you're in it? What if it's just like a custom game? It's just you and me playing a game, and I call you something very untoward.
Yeah, but I'm fine with it because we're used to just chatting rubbish to each other.
Now,
man, that'd be so bad. Imagine if it was a single-player game.
Yeah.
You're playing Doom and you're like, die, you demons from hell. And the game's like, nope, I think you're too aggravated for this game. We're taking it away from you.
The amount of horrible, vile shit I say to things in single-player games.
Yeah.
It's because it's just a computer. There's no one on the other end. But but the thing is, This is my hot take, because I think that that's their excuse, that they're trying to protect people from nasty words.
Yeah.
In reality, they're probably doing what the Xbox originally wanted to do with the always-on Kinect, and that became controversial, and they cut it off. But the idea was they would monitor people's reactions in certain parts of games, single-player and online, and then sell that data, that harvested metadata, to game developers.
Right.
So that's what the Xbox tried to do, that with people's heart rate, because the Kinect has a infrared sensor in it, and they used it. Oh my god, I'm hiccuping. They used it pretty extensively because the Xbox had Kinect workout things, and I actually used them when they came out, when they were popular, and they were pretty good workouts. And it would monitor your heart rate, and you could see what your heart rate was, and it would show an infrared camera. But Xbox wanted that to always be on, so they could go hey, look, this person their heart rate's going up in this horror game at this part, and they sell that data to developers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems... I mean, of the two choices of either... imagine you're in a room, right? And it's one of these... you have to do one or the other. If the choice was get sworn at a lot when I play games, or be watched through cameras forever, I think I know which is the bigger of the two evils, which I certainly do not want. So, them saying that it's for our own safety, yeah, but if it was for our own safety, it wouldn't be part of the terms and conditions. It would be an option or something. Maybe have it so it's a setting you can turn on. So they can...
That setting already exists. It's called mute.
I mean, true. Well, can you just Can you?
Just mute people in game? Yeah.
No, but mute yourself to the people listening in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
okay. That's right. I thought it was like a constantly on thing that...
it is for Sony. So the idea being, and again, this was the way I understood it from what I was reading, was that
Right.
like it would function normally in game. Like, you could mute other people, they could mute you, you could mute yourself, you could unplug the headset, whatever. But the controller had a mic that was always on, that was always being monitored by
Yeah.
Sony or some contract company
Yeah.
or whatever. That was the fucked up bit, because you could not turn that off.
Yeah. It's kind of like, you know, when you get like a game crashes on the PC and it's like, oh, do you want to send a report?
Yeah.
Instead, it's like, no, we are sending a report, and you can't do shit.
Yeah, it's like, do you remember when you left your PlayStation on and decided to,
Have a friend around or something.
yeah, you guys were talking about some personal shit? Oh yeah, Sony knows about that now.
Yeah.
Now, I seriously doubt it's that extensive, and there are laws around this that means they couldn't harvest, like, tagged metadata. It'd have to be all anonymous. It's
Yeah.
still fucked up. And more than that, I find it fucked up that they're doing that sort of thing without compensating the user base in any way. Like, I wouldn't mind signing up, like, opting in and saying, yeah, sure, mine my metadata, but, give me a free game. Or, like, pay me.
Yeah, PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, exactly. Give me like a discounted or free PlayStation Plus membership, and
Take it back to the good old days of the PS3 when the fucking online was free. That's something that is what drove me away from consoles.
yeah,
is the constantly having to pay every single month.
yeah, blame Xbox for that.
Yeah, I mean they started it, but at the same time,
Yeah. Although I will say that back in the day when I like Xbox Live for the price it was for the online, especially in the era of the Xbox 360 when I was in high school and college, like, oh my god, it was Xbox Live was the shit. You really needed to know people. Like all my friends were playing it too. So
yeah, I mean it's kind of pointless if you don't know people.
yeah. Nowadays, I think I could probably turn my subscription off and not really notice it because I don't really play online on console anymore, at least.
I did buy a PS4, partially just to get Tetris on it. But there was a couple of other games I got, and the only reason I got PlayStation Live was to play Red Dead Redemption online with Massey.
Yeah. Right, I remember this because I got it for the Xbone, and I couldn't play with you guys.
You could?
Could not.
Oh, could not. Right, yeah, okay, sorry. And yeah, that was... I mean, Red Dead Online turned out to be a complete disappointment compared to the single player. And so I just stopped paying for online. There was no other point in doing it. The free games they give away are generally pretty bad. And if I want a free game, I'll just go to the Epic Game Store on PC.
Yeah.
Besides that, console games are generally very expensive. And I don't have like a super 4K monitor, so I can't even get the most amazing shit anyway.
Well, you've just like given me a perfect segue into the next topic I have on my list, full price like next gen games. Another fucked up practice that's starting is they're putting full on advertisements in AAA like games, like not product placement. That's always been a thing. Like you're swinging around a post-apocalyptic city and you see a pristine billboard that says "Drink Coke." Like,
yeah, I was good. Everyone goes with Coke, yeah. Nuka-Cola, whatever you want.
Yeah. But in now, no, they're legit. I think it was NBA 2K or whatever the series is. I don't play sports video games because
NBA's basketball, right?
Yeah, it is. But in the game, Now it's a PS5 game, so it's coming out. It's $70 or PS5,
Oh
Xbox
Jesus,
One X. They've
$70.
they've increased the price by $10 for AAA titles.
Ouch. I remember when £30 was too much for me
Yeah,
to buy a game.
yeah, it's fucked
Oh.
up. Now some developers aren't doing that, but they're trying to push the price of games up by another $10. Um, I think it's stupid, and it's just another reason not to play too many console games or to buy them on sale.
Mm.
Either way, in this game, what they're doing is like in loading screens, they'll be like, "Here's a loading screen," and then after the loading screen, here's an ad for like shampoo or something like that, or Gatorade or whatever.
Wow.
It's a legit commercial just in the
Oh my god.
game, and because
I
the
thought you were gonna.
game's sorry.
I thought you were gonna say like the bleachers, the sides of the court would
No,
have ads on them
no,
like they do in real life.
that's fine. Like that's perfectly fine because in sports games, I'd argue that even contributes to the ambiance, right?
Yeah, it
Because
makes it
that's what it's like in an actual
realistic.
sports stadium. You got ads everywhere.
Mm.
But in but no, they're legitimately putting commercials into the game.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Are they at least like properly aimed commercials? Like, I know you
Potentially.
said. Did you actually say is the shampoo a real thing in the
Oh, I just
basketball
made that
game?
up. I have no idea. I
Okay.
imagine it's stuff like Gatorade and power bars and shit like that.
Yeah, probably energy drinks and other stuff that people really don't need in their lives.
Yeah.
Um, God, that's kind of scary. And at some point, there's gonna be a an advert for one of these, CS:GO-esque gambling sites. I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Except for the game, probably that it's being played on.
Now what I and the thing these games are already monetized to all hell, and
Yep.
they're full price $70, and they come out once a year, so it's not like you can even get them super discounted because they come out every single year. So by the time it gets discounted, the next one's already out. So if you want to play with your friends or whatever, they got the newest one. You got to get the newest one. So,
Yeah.
but then on top of that, they're throwing commercials into them. I just, at least if they're gonna put commercials in it, like maybe sell like a $70 copy with no commercials and like a $30 copy with commercials.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. In fact, I would be happy to buy a game with commercials for a lower price. I would
Yeah.
be very happy to do that.
I mean, if that, I think I'd do that with some games. I mean, there's some games that I care about a lot more that I'd probably pay full price for just to avoid the commercials. But the but like a game like that, yeah, fuck it. I'll get the cheapo commercial version.
That's just a low blow.
And again, it goes back to the whole like PlayStation always listening to people thing. It's like if you're going to monetize people's data, if you're going to monetize people, then they should either get a cut. They should get a cut somehow, right? Either they buy in the game at a discount or they get some free shit. I think there's another video game that legitimately did this. They put commercials in game, but they gave you in-game rewards if you decided to watch them. Like you could skip them,
Right.
and if you didn't
Sort of like on a
skip
phone
them,
game.
yeah. I don't. It may have been an MMO or something like that. But if you decided to watch a commercial, you got some in-game currency.
Hmm.
And even that's better than what this is. This is just legit full-priced game. They've got commercials in it, and you get nothing. Like, and it's not even like it's not even something like an MMO or a competitive game um where like I don't know, they have to constantly maintain it. It's a single player or local multiplayer game that's going to be gone within a year when they release the next version.
Hmm.
So there's no reason for them to have to charge, like to have to build up even more money for it. I don't know. It seems insanely fucked up.
Yeah.
But it's not my world anyway. Like I said, I don't play sports video games really.
No, I'm not a fan. There was something I found out recently, which I had no clue about before. This is sports related, not so much game related.
Mm.
Do you have like a um, a military like flyover before every football game?
I don't
That
think it
is
happens.
American football.
I don't think it happens before everyone, but it does happen. Yeah, I think that they do it at the
Huh.
Super Bowl, and I'm
Man,
pretty
that
sure
sounds
they,
really cool.
yeah, yeah, they get like jets and stuff flying over, and sometimes they get the colored, you know, mist behind them,
Right.
uh, little streams, red, white, and blue, and all that. Yeah, they do it. And again, I don't. It's not everyone, but they do it at like big games.
Yeah. No, I saw some of the I was watching Angry Cops
Hmm.
because there was a bit of outrage recently that a couple of American football commentators were like, "Well, that's where your tax dollars are going, guys." You know,
What, to the
look at how
military
they're
flyover?
wasting. Yeah, they're complaining about the flyover at the football game. Um,
Fuck off with that shit.
yeah, I don't know.
It's that attitude. Like this is what pisses me off about that attitude, and I'm going to use a comparison that most people can understand to kind of illustrate this. That same attitude is the attitude that you have when you work at a company, right? And they're looking to cut back on like money, like cut back on funding, it like
Yeah,
save money in the budget somewhere, and they're like, well, you know what? We don't need a team building outing. We don't need to, buy people lunch during these long hours. Yeah, let's cut back there. They cut like the people who think that way are the same people who will cut back like benefits that boost morale like in an office building. It's
yeah,
like, yes, it costs money for them to do that flyover. But it also is it's a big thing for like it's like a PR thing, both for the military that's doing the flyover and for the sports games. Like
yeah.
it kind of it builds that spirit. It lifts people's morale, like both for the people doing the flyover and for the people watching it. And
And
people,
I mean, people go there to be entertained. So I mean,
yeah,
you're expending money to entertain people anyway. The football teams themselves would obviously cost far more than the probably the price of the flyover.
yeah, the flyover is
So I
going to
mean,
be, probably at most like 100 grand,
right.
maybe a couple 100 grand. Those jets
Yeah, make
aren't.
a spectacle of it.
Hmm?
But yeah, make a spectacle of it. That's all
Yeah,
I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, you're right. If they're doing it for every single one, then okay, maybe that's a bit excessive. But at the same time, yeah, why don't we just cancel every parade? Parades are a waste
Yeah.
of money. Fuck, why are we having the football games in general? Cancel them. Why do we have these commentators? Fire them. Like,
Mm.
there's no depth you can't go to if you just want to, cut fun.
Yeah. And no, yeah. So there was some clips of a whole bunch of different flavors, and there was like Chinooks. There was a goddamn like stealth stealth bomber,
Mm.
stealth jet. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, stealth jet. Stealth. I mean, that's
Yeah, that looks so cool. It looks so cool.
talking about the triangular one with all the angles and shit,
Yeah,
right?
the
Yep.
stealth bomber. Yeah.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking
Um,
about.
And yeah, it had like jets, it had crop dusters, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I thought, man, I wish we had that in this. I mean, we have the red arrows in this country, um, which are, I think, they're red fighter jets, and they do, smoke trails and all that kind of thing.
Hmm.
But it's pretty damn rare to see them. I haven't seen them in several years.
Yeah, we
Um,
get a lot of that over here. Sometimes they do it at like county fairs and stuff too.
mm,
Not to the same extent, but they might have like one jet or something doing a flyover.
yeah. But no, that
Pretty
was
cool.
just one of the stories that I heard about
Yeah.
this week.
Oh my god. We started this off so positive, and then it's just been, hey, look at these two controversial things in video games. And now look at these two spoil sports.
Yeah, well, everyone's going to,
Well,
look to
why don't we?
profiteer.
Well, the last topic I had written down is also kind of negative. Although, I personally think it is a positive. But there's an antitrust lawsuit against Google in the U.S. right now.
Right? Oh my god, more big companies who are doing dodgy looking stuff.
Yeah, they're trying to break up Google. They're saying they have what is essentially a monopoly in
Right.
several industries,
Yeah.
and so there's an antitrust investigation going on against them in the U.S. right now.
Which industries in particular do you know?
The one that I remember being cited was search, but they're also investigating video, so YouTube essentially. And what may end up happening is Google being split off from YouTube and potentially Google's search monopoly being either broken up into smaller companies, the same way they did with AT&T back in the 80s
Sorry.
or 90s.
Yeah.
Also, Gesundheit.
Thank you. So does Google own YouTube then?
It does, yeah.
Uh,
In fact,
um,
I think YouTube is. Yeah, I don't think YouTube makes any money. Like, I think they either break even or go slightly negative with YouTube.
really?
Yeah,
What are
but
they spending all that money on?
I don't know. I think just maintaining it. But yeah,
What they
so
need to do is they need to get rid of all their coffee machines, take people off of their lunch breaks.
everyone gets unpaid overtime.
Yeah.
No more fancy office buildings. We're gonna, I'm sorry. We
Shipping
like our
container.
office in California, but we're gonna move it to like the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Texas.
Mhm.
Like, I oh
Uh,
my god.
it went circle. Um, you said search. Do you mean just like as a search engine?
Search engine, yeah. I mean, because
Okay, I mean,
at
because
the
there
moment,
are other competitors out there for that.
yeah, there's Bing.
There's Microsoft. There's
Yeah, that's Microsoft. Bing's the only real one because most of the other search engines are powered by Google.
really Firefox.
Well, Firefox is a browser.
Right.
I'm talking about search
Okay.
engines.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think there's any indication that they're being that there's a claim that they have a monopoly on browsers because you've got Microsoft Edge, you've got Chrome, you've got Firefox, you've got Safari, all the various Linux ones. There's plenty of different browsers out there, so I don't think they're
Yeah.
saying Chrome is a monopoly, but they're talking about search engines. So, like,
What about what was it, GoDaddy or something?
I'm pretty sure it's powered by Google.
Oh. Rip.
I, I haven't verified that, but the only one I know of for certain that's not powered by Google's search algorithms is Bing.
Okay. Well, I mean, then it's not. I mean, if Google did something terrible and everyone hated them, then they'd have a place to go. So it's not really a monopoly.
It's true. It's true, but you don't have to control 100% of the market to be considered a monopoly in the US. You just have to prove that essentially you control how the market functions. I think. I'm not a lawyer. I should point that out. Um, but like for instance, when AT&T got broken up, AT&T is the last big one that I can think of, and it happened either in the 80s or 90s, I want to say. Maybe it was before that. But they essentially had what was essentially a monopoly on the telephone lines in the US, and they got broken
Right.
up into 6 different companies, um, just in different regions. And I don't think it's not like there weren't other telephone companies. I think there were, but they were just insignificant compared to AT&T.
Yeah.
They were the only real competition on the market.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose like I don't know. I'm just thinking of big companies now.
Yeah, there's. I mean, it's surprising how many. Like Google isn't even like the top of it. If you go up from Google, they're owned by a company called Alphabet.
Right.
Um, and then
Damn.
like this is where it gets like, God,
Illuminati.
yeah. Well, this is you can go down a big rabbit hole with this. Like a ton of like companies that you think of as separate are really owned by like one overarching corporation.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I could talk about that for a while. I don't know a ton about it. Like I know like surface level that yeah they're owned.
Yeah.
What that means in practical terms, I have no idea. Um, I'm
I mean,
I'm not a
that's
tinfoil hat person that thinks that that means that the whole world is controlled by one company.
I feel like
Um,
once you do have a monopoly, the only other place to expand up is to start just buying other industries.
and that's honestly what Google and Amazon have been doing, both of them.
Yeah.
Like Amazon started out as a fucking online book company, but now they're like they control most like server storage and cloud storage. Like a lot of things are hosted on Amazon's cloud service. They have their video platform. They have their music platform. They have God, they have their own delivery company now, Amazon Logistics. Google's done the same thing. They expanded into YouTube. They've got all this AI, all these AI companies and things like that. I just
Next,
you're
they'll be
right.
buying the ice cream companies, and we'll be eating Google cream.
Now, one
That'll be
company that hasn't done that, and this is weird. I found this out a couple years back, is Apple. They have pretty much stayed to roughly the same industry, but they have something like they have several $billion in assets in cash. Sorry, not in assets, in cash that they're just sitting on. Like
I mean,
and they
they
don't
have.
they don't spend it, they don't reinvest it, and they don't move it into the US because then it would be taxed. So they just sit on this like dragon's hoard of money. They don't actually use it to expand into anything.
They do have a fairly broad range, though, if you think about it, because obviously there's the PCs and the phones.
Hmm.
Um, but then with the phones, they've also expanded pretty hard into the music side of like the iPods.
Right.
Uh, although I guess they've kind of, I mean, have they released a new iPod in recent years? Because
No, it's just all
it's all just
iPhones, I think.
iPhones.
I don't think
Yeah.
they do they even still make iPods?
Uh, maybe I don't know. I feel like iPod Nanos are pretty good. Those
Oh
little
my god.
tiny little squares.
They do.
Yeah.
But it's literally just the iPhone without the ability to use it as a phone.
Well, nobody uses phones as phones these days.
The new iPod Touch, $199. It's literally just a phone that you can't call people on.
Right. Yeah.
I fucking hate Apple. Although I do I don't know. I hate Apple because their devices are nearly impossible to customize or fix. I used to
Hmm.
work in IT in college, and whenever somebody would bring down a MacBook and be like, "Can you fix this?" I'd be like, "No, you have an Apple," and that would be like we had some people that would do it, but you had to like know how to get into the root menu and actually like mess around behind the scenes of
Yeah.
the OS to actually
They
fix them.
they really make Apple products so that only the people who made the product can tweak it.
Yeah.
Um,
And they do it for two reasons. Like one, they're like people who aren't tech savvy can use Apple products reliably and not break them
mm,
because they make them nearly impossible to customize or fiddle around with, under the hood. So, if you don't know anything about technology, Apple is the perfect thing for you. But
yeah.
if you like customizing them in any way, shape, or form, they suck.
Yeah. There was a YouTube channel I used to watch briefly, and it's basically this guy who owns a tech repair shop.
Yeah.
And whenever he gets an interesting job in, he'll record what he does.
Yeah.
and he had a client come in once. Well, it happened a few times, but someone came in and said, "Look, are you able to repair this MacBook or something?"
Hmm.
And he said, "Oof, yeah, I will, but gave them a quote basically, and they said, "Okay, cool." They went off to the Apple store, and the Apple store took it away, made more problems with it, and charged like so much more than he had charged. So he then did it for free, but he did it on live stream so he could talk about
Yeah,
it and
yeah.
show what he did. And yeah, that he was even like, yeah, this is where the Apple employees further scratched the board and made this not usable. And then he had a recording of a courtroom, I suppose.
Hmm.
It was the wherever he lives in America.
Hmm.
It was a battle over whether the parts that can be used to repair a Mac should be available to people outside of Apple, basically.
Yeah.
And he's fighting that battle. And I'm pretty sure he won the case. But no, the Apple employees who were there were like, "No, we don't want anyone to be able to use our tools."
Well, that's like a bunch of Apple is notorious for this. They'll add like screws and things to their devices that no known screwdriver will fit.
Yeah.
So that people can't open them up. I remember back in college, one of my friends had an iPod Touch. So again, it's the iPhone without the phone antenna installed.
Yeah.
And it broke and it wasn't working right. So we brought it back to the store, and I guess he had the insurance or it was under warranty or something. And he explained it to him. The Apple tech was like, "Oh yeah, we have that part." And he goes back into the back room, but he left the door open so we could see him back there. He literally like plugged it into a machine, like cloned the iPod onto a new one, threw my friend's iPhone into a bin, and then brought him out a brand new one. It's like, "Oh yeah, I fixed it."
Damn.
It's like they they just gave him a new one.
That's so wasteful. Oh my god.
Well, welcome to I guess that's kind of the modern phone industry.
Yeah.
They give you these tiny little pocket computers. They manufacture them en masse, and then they literally pay you to take them.
Jeez.
Anyway.
Yeah, you get the. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I just saw the time. Go on.
Yeah, we kind of got onto a topic that we could waffle on and talk about for quite a while, so I thought I should probably get us to wrap up. Yeah, final thoughts before I wrap up the segment?
Don't trust big companies. Don't necessarily trust anyone else anyway, but indie games is where it's at.
Trust but verify. All right. Well, that will be it for segment 1. Thank you for listening to us, and we will be back soon with segment 2.